welcome to our Veterans Day special. My name is Peter.
And I'm Zach.
Today we're bringing in a few guests on the show.
And these guests are going to tell you the true meaning of Veterans Day. Our first guest is Daniel Henning, whose father served in the military. What branch and how long did he serve for?
He was in the U.S. Army, and because he's a weird old man, he gave me the exact date of 28 years, 5 months, and 3 days.
All right, growing up in that household around the military, do you think your views on veterans and Veterans Day would be different than an average civilian?
Definitely be a lot different. The average American doesn't have, 30-year-old grown men come in and leave, never seeing them again.
Do you think your upbringing has affected you in such a way that you're noticeably different than anyone else?
Yes and no, because I grew up with a lot of people older than how I am around, people my age. So growing up around adults versus people that I have close birthdays with takes a huge toll on how I see different people.
Do you think you're seen differently because of your upbringing and being a military kid?
With people my age, no, but people older feel like, I need to have more respect, or that I need to join the military myself, which is stupid because, I didn't ask to be born in a family of military.
Yeah.
And, it's just kind of stupid.
Is there anything else you'd want people to know about military kids and just Veterans Day in general?
The fact we're military kids for a reason, you put kids after it. Just because we're military doesn't mean we're special.
And any thing you want to tell them about Veterans Day or veterans in general?
I respect it. It's a needed holiday in the U.S., but at the same time, don't force military on your children looking at you cameras. Don't do that. It's bad.
All right, well, that concludes our interview with Danny.
All right, good morning. I'm here with
Miss Carls.
Yeah, Ms. Carls. So you were in the military, right?
I was in the military and did a couple years in the Army.
So what was your rank?
I got out as an E3. I just was, like I said, just in for a couple years. My husband and I were both dual military, and I just had a baby. So it was super hard to have a dual military family and also have a kid to take care of. And we didn't want our kids raised by grandparents or anything like that. So I chose to come out.
Yeah, my mom went through that with my sister.
Yeah.
Explain to me what your rank was.
So I was an enlisted person. So I went in after high school, graduated from high school, went straight to basic training. And then I got stationed here. I was a military intel analyst. So it was it's a little bit of an oxymoron, but it was a good time. I was one of the first females in an infantry unit. So I was like the test pilot, I guess you can say. So it was interesting, dynamic for sure, but I enjoyed my time, but it was just too difficult, and the best choice was for me to come out, and my husband's been in since.
So were you or your husband deployed?
So we actually, back in the day, they used to have different cycles where, and they color coded it, where you were on black cycle or gold cycle, that kind of thing, and they rotated in terms of who went out for deployments and stuff like that. And coincidentally, both our units were going to go deploy at the same time right after I had my baby. So we're like, nope, this ain't happening, and I got out.
So how many years did you serve?
It was just a couple of years. So I planned on making it a career, but because they weren't willing to work with us in terms of making sure our deployment cycles were going to be off, the better choice was for me to come out.
Okay. So did the military experience influence your thoughts on the military?
Oh, like I said, I enjoyed my time. It was great. I've always been a physical person anyway, so I enjoyed being outside and doing things. I was a Navy brat, so I grew up in the military. So that's kind of all I knew anyways, so it was a good thing. When I was younger, we were stationed mainly in Hawaii and in the Asia area. I was hoping with the Army, I can hopefully go into the European, side of the world and see all that, which we did eventually as a family, so it was good.
What are you going to do for Veterans Day?
What did I do?
Oh, what are you going to do?
So I was a military intel analyst, so meaning I hate to say I was kind of like an over-glorified map reader, but that's kind of what I did. So we helped in terms of making sure security was done with maps, whether it was classified materials or anything like that. We made sure forward troops, I guess you can say, were deployed in the right areas. I helped with that process. Since I was a part of the infantry unit, I helped with that in terms of making sure things were secure where they needed to be, people were where they needed to be.
What was the best experience while you were in the military?
Being in the military, well, currently, since I've gotten out, I think, like I said, the ability to travel has been great. We were stationed in Italy for 6 years. So that was fantastic. We got to travel all throughout Europe, enjoyed that. That was my plan anyways, while I was hoping to go active and doing that. Meeting so many people from all walks of life, being able to experience all the things. My husband right now is in a position of a leadership position, so it has me going to a lot of functions and meeting all these people. And that's been great alone, just networking and building that. So hopefully when he gets out, he can obviously get a good civilian job.
So I know you say your husband is still in the military. So how many times do you know that he was deployed? Was it like hard for the communication? He's
been deployed quite a bit. When we were in Italy, he did a 13-month rotation, and that was super hard. We actually had our youngest daughter, she was 10 days old when he left. So that was super hard to deal with. And then he is in a different unit now where he's in special operations, so he deploys quite a bit. Those rotations aren't as frequent anymore for him now that he's in a leadership position, but he's probably deployed at least 15 times for sure, if not more.
Well, I enjoyed this very much. I like hearing other people's experience with the military. Mm-hmm. I kind of deal with stuff, I just glide across life, so.
But you have the appreciation for it, though, and that's good.
It was wonderful having you here.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for inviting me.
All right, good morning. We're here with?
First Sergeant Derek Austin.
Okay, so you see your rank is?
First Sergeant.
Okay, so explain.
All right, First Sergeant, in the military and the Army, you have different positions. My rank is an E8. However, as a First Sergeant just means that I've been put in charge of X amount of people. Okay.
So, how many years did you serve?
I did a total of 27 years.
27.
Yes.
What's the best moment you experienced in the military?
Best moment I think that I experienced in the military is probably on my first deployment to Iraq. Just being able to bond with the other service members. We are away from, your families, and you're away from everything that you know as home. But being able to bond, support each other, man, you build those friendships. Those are your best moments in the military.
So what are you going to do for Veterans Day?
For Veterans Day, we're going to, us as a JRTC program, we're going down to Old Charlie's, and we're going to open up doors, help serve, seat, conversate with some of the veterans here in the local community.
That does sound fun. Did you make any connections while you served, or do you stay in touch with people?
Most definitely. Some of my most closest friends are some of the people that was in the military, and unfortunately, none of them here are in town. All of them are stationed, or they lived and retired, like in San Antonio, Virginia, Ohio. They're in different locations. So making those connections, again, like I told you, that's one of the best parts of being in the military. Making those connections, those friends, those are not just associates, those are some friends that you really call family,
So I know you served for a very long time, so did the experience change your perspective on military from when you first got in and now?
Yes, when I joined back in 1990, my outlook, you know, I was just going in as I needed a job to help take care of my family. That was a job, that was some income for me. As the years went on and I started getting into it, my outlook changed, because now it's not just a job to help take care of my family. I am doing a great service to my country, so that my family can have some choices. They can have some freedom. They can have the rights to do certain things. When you go over to other countries, Iraq, Afghanistan, you get to appreciate the United States with the privileges that we have. Over there, they don't have options to vote and choose who they would like to represent them. Everything is told. If you're on the right team, let's say you was in Iraq, if you was with Saddam, hey, you driving in Mercedes and BMW. If you wasn't, you drove a horse and a buggy. It was that big of a difference. They living in palaces with golden faucets made out of 24 karat gold. This guy over here got a grass hut made out of grass and mud and clay and stuff. So it's a big difference. So being able to have the choice of what you want to do with your life. I want to go to school, I want to go to college, I want to do whatever to become whatever, is a great option that we have here in the United States. So being able to fight for that freedom and to be able to have that choice, man, gives you a different perspective on it.
So I do remember we had a little, I want to say, I say get together. You did explain.
Yes, on the interviews I did, yes, sir.
So I know you were deployed. So how many times were you deployed?
I was deployed Iraq 4 times, Afghanistan 3 times. So total 7.
So when you were deployed on the communication side, when you had your family, was that hard?
As the years went on, it was okay. In the beginning, it was very hard because technology, back in 1990, we didn't have cell phones. We had an internet service where everybody would stand in line, and you got a phone card, an AT&T phone card, and you would go in there and use your minutes, and if you called and your family wasn't at home, you was just out, man. You had to get back in line, wait another hour, try to see if you can call and see if they're home again. Nowadays, it's a lot easier because we have Skype, we got the iPhones with the, what's that thing y'all call?
The FaceTime?
FaceTime and stuff, you know what I'm saying? So we got all that. It makes it a lot easier, you know. So being a soldier today is a lot easier than what it was when I first joined. So it gradually got better over the years.
I just have one personal question. So,
okay.
I'll put this, so like all the years put together, do you think, would you, like back then if you had a choice to not go, would you not go? Like if you went back in time?
So if I had to go back in time, do it all over again, I would choose the exact same path because that's really made me to the person that I am today. It's helped me provide for my family, be able to put, I got 7 children, so it's helped me put all my children through college. It afforded me to go to college. If I stayed in Dayton, Ohio, where I was from, I don't think I would have that same success. So most definitely, the people, the experiences, the things that I've seen, I wouldn't trade it for the world, man. It's really set me up for success and gave me a greater outlook on life and people as a general. So most definitely I would do it the exact same. I wouldn't change it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That's all the questions we have. I
Outstanding.
really do appreciate you coming by.
Most definitely. I appreciate you. Thank you, sir.
All right, good morning. We're here with?
Deputy Puskas.
All right. What was your rank in that?
I was a Chief Warrant Officer 3 in the U.S. Army.
So you care to explain that rank?
The
meaning of it?
I was in the Army, and there are basically 3 rank structures in the Army. You have your officers, and you have your enlisted, your privates and sergeants. Well, in between, there's a specialized group of individuals that are warrant officers. They're generally specialized by their training, which is extensive. Usually, warrant officers in the Army are maintenance or pilots or food specialists. I think there's some that are animal veterinarian techs and stuff like that as well. There's a few.
What's your favorite memory of the Army?
There's a lot of good memories. For instance, I got to walk around and climb around Mount Fuji in Japan. I was able to go diving off of Australia at the Great Barrier Reef during my training and stuff in the military. I've been, like I said, Japan, Australia, Panama. Got to go scuba diving in the Panama Canal.
Okay.
There's just quite a few of them, yeah.
That sounds fun. I cannot lie, that sounds fun. Did you make any friends?
A few along the way, yeah. A few.
You still have contact with them today?
Occasionally, yeah. They've gone on to their own retired post-military careers, and they do it a myriad. Some still fly as pilots. Other ones are working for law enforcement. Other ones are just living life, doing what they want to do now.
All right, so why did you join the military?
Small town. I was working construction and saw that as being like the only thing I was going to do. And one of the options to go see more in the world was to join the military. So I studied for the ASVAB, took the test, did real well on it, and initially joined up and did, I got a, what they call a cohort package. It was kind of an assigned unit and destination with your contract, which was light infantry to Hawaii for a couple of years.
Okay.
That's where I started out.
So how did being in the military affect your life?
Being in the military gives you a lot of sense of direction, makes you confident in yourself, gives you a lot of experiences, worldly experiences you may not find within your state or the continental U.S. You can go to other countries and see other, so the word I'm looking for, other societies, see how they live, how they act, how they talk, what they do on a normal daily basis, and what they do that differs from what we're used to and stuff. There's just so much out there in the world.
So what does Veterans Day mean to you? Like
Veterans Day is, it's just a day that, I feel respected, as well as I feel some, you could call it like brotherhood with other veterans across all the different services and time itself, everybody that's ever served, it's nice to see the older veterans out on those days. If they're out getting a free meal, with their friends and family and stuff, I get a chance to thank them. Some of them, for making the first footprint of that unit. Me personally, my grandparents, 3 of them were in World War II. One grandmother flew aircraft. My grandfather was in New Guinea in the Pacific Theater, and another grandparent, my grandfather was in the European Theater. And his best friend was one of the first paratroopers with the 101st over here. And I get a chance on those days to say thank you for setting the standard that we now have to adhere to.
Yeah. So were you deployed at any time?
Yes, I've done 4 combat deployments and then a couple of small, the nice training deployments like to Australia and Japan and Panama and stuff like that.
So how did that affect like communication with your family?
Well, it's very limited. Sometimes, occasionally we would have internet set up. You could contact them, maybe once a week, once a month. Later on, we were able to get cell phone service sometimes and talk to them throughout the week when we could and have downtime and stuff. So it's sporadic, especially if you do long deployments. You're missing birthdays and Christmases and other holidays and stuff like that. It makes it a little difficult, but it's doable.
I always respect that part, because not seeing your family for so long, it definitely,
makes you cherish those moments.
Yeah. Well, it was wonderful having you.
Thank you. I enjoyed this.
Have a wonderful rest of your day.
You too. Thank you.
All right. We thank all the veterans who risked their lives to serve and protect our people in this country.
This concludes our Veterans Day special, and for all the veterans out there, thank you.